welcome back to another episode of EdCloset On-Demand. I'm your host, Susan Riley, and also the founder of educationcloset.com. So today, I'm actually going to be addressing a question that I received at one of my latest professional development sessions that I provided to a series of teachers in our local region. Actually, we were discussing about bringing arts integration into the classroom, and we got a question about creativity versus creating. And so here, the question is actually very simple. Is there a difference between creativity and creating? And obviously, if you're thinking about that, I just want you to pause for a minute. Is there a difference between creativity and creating? I really think that there is, and I think there has to be. And obviously the answer is yes, because creativity is referring to something, kind of a global thing. It's almost like an adjective, whereas creating is a verb. It's an action. It's something that we do. But so often in the educational conversation, we're talking about creativity. We're talking about building creative skills. Talking about the fact that creativity is a 21st century learning skill that we need to be embedding into our curriculum. And what's being left out of this conversation is the idea of actual creating, spending the time that we need to actually create, to do something with what we've learned. And here's what's really interesting. Creativity is important. We have to be building creativity. We have to be constantly looking for ways that we can encourage our students to be creative and to think creatively. But the real learning, the real meaningful learning, the deep-seated learning that we're looking for does not happen until students actually create. They go through the action of applying the skills that they've learned, of applying their own creative genius to a new piece of work. That's when all of their learning comes together and they make meaning out of it. And that is where the magic happens, folks. Now, I want you to think about your own curriculum. I want you to think about your own teaching approach and how you really foster those creative skills in your classroom. Think about how much time you spend doing that versus how much time you actually provide students to create, okay, to take what they've learned and pull it together. Is it the focus of your teaching, or is it a kind of wrap-up design? Is it the culminating project that you do that students produce? And if it is, do you spend 1 day on that, 2 days on that, in a 3-week unit? I'm not judging, and we shouldn't judge about this because various skills require various times. However, I do want us all to consider where we place our time, because time is our most precious resource. You can't get it back. Once you've spent it, it's gone. So if you've decided where to spend your time in your instruction and in your classroom, be prepared to defend that and think through it very carefully. Don't just go through the curriculum because that's what you've got to get done. Really consider, how am I not only fostering creative skills, but providing that more important time for creating with those skills. It's something I think we have a responsibility to consider from here on out. So I'd really love to hear from you. I know that this sounds kind of really nice, but not practical, and in some cases, and I'd love to hear from you. How are you making this a reality? How are you making this practical in your classroom? What does creating time versus creativity time look like in your classroom? Is it completely interwoven? Do you set aside time for it? How do you go about purposefully allowing for creativity in your classroom, regardless of what content area you teach? I'd love to hear from you. Please leave your comments in the comment area below so that we can engage further in that conversation and dialogue. I think it's extremely critical, especially right now with where we are in our educational understanding. So for more ideas like this, to kind of be a part of that conversation and join our community, I highly suggest you subscribe to our Education Closet channel where you'll get notifications as soon as we release a new episode. Until next week, I really look forward to hearing from you and engaging in that conversation. I wish you all the best.